Hey everyone, welcome back to the best U.S. Mint news channel on YouTube. I'm Son of a Silver Stacker. Today's date is August 5th, 2024. And in this video, well, we got a really great article by Garrett from Numismatic Guarantee Company. It's about the economy, inflation, and coin collecting. You won't believe your eyes. There's some really great points he touches on, and I'll be commenting on some of the items he touches base on. Now, with that said, if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get to a bazillion subs. It's a mighty big number. Not sure exactly what that number is, but it's got to be ginormous. Also, hey, guess what? We're always live and never edited. And I got an additional little bit of information for you this morning. You won't believe your eyes. Now, over here to this advertisement, got to click off that one. Look at this. Everything is getting beat up from the feet up. Gold down 21.25 to 24.31.70. Silver down $1.18 this morning to 27.58. Platinum, well, now it's down 35.85 to 934.10, and palladium down 33 even Steven to 895.30. Isn't that amazing? Look at that, 895. What? That's incredible. Now over here, you're looking at an in-stock American Silver Eagle, whose premium is $7.59. You're going to get out of there with a quantity of 1 through 39 for $35.18, and they will buy them back for $28.91 each. We were about $30 just a couple of days ago. Now over here, I got my YouTube or Yahoo Finance page up, and I just wanted to show you some of the futures that you're looking at here. S&P down 2.6%. Just this morning, Dow futures down 1.6, NASDAQ down 4 point. They're just getting hit over there, almost down 800 points. The Russell 2000 futures, yeah, down 4%. Crude oil down 2.1%. But look at that. If you're looking at percentage-wise, gold is only down 0.16% to 24.65. Now, did they have a really good angle on things? Absolutely not. So let's go ahead and hit refresh, see what gold now stands at. Yeah, 24.61 is what they're saying, down 0.34%. And when you compare and contrast those to the markets, well, it's doing all right. Now, over here to the bullion sales at the United States Mint, they're updated every weekday by 5 p.m. And I don't suspect we'll see any of these new numbers for about another week or so. Now, off to the article by Garrett. Incredibly well written, and I think we can all relate to this on many levels. Now, this is from July 30th, 2024, from Coin Week, all right? And that's got a really interesting picture of a dollar bill. Even though he has it under a magnifying lens, it's still really, well, not that big. All right, that must be Jeff there. For decades, inflation in the United States has been a key focus for anyone who considers precious metals for investment. The spike of inflation in the 1970s, peaking at about 13%, precipitated by the oil embargo, created the first rush to precious metals as a hedge. All right, silver and gold rose sharply in the late 70s and the early 80s. Now, if you were around at that time, you know he's not lying. That's absolutely correct. There was a peak right there for gold and silver with the recession when the recession of 1982 hit. And remember, the United States Mint did not make, that was the first year they didn't make any uncirculated sets in quite some time, and that continued on until 1983, and then 84 they went back at it. However, you could actually go to the actual mint directly, Philadelphia and Denver, and pick up those special mint sets, right? So that was pretty amazing. Now, in the middle of all that, the Hunt brothers, and don't forget, one of the Hunt brothers owns the Kansas City. Well, he was a really big wig. I think he owned the Kansas City Chiefs, right? So if you're a Chiefs fan, you definitely know about the Hunt brothers. Now, the Hunt brothers created turbulence when they unsuccessfully tried to corner the silver market. It was a wild time of roller coaster prices for gold and silver. Is that manipulation? I think might have been. The fear of inflation, however, was the spark that started it all. And look, we had inflation really kick off during COVID, right? Remember all that money that the government gave us, and remember things weren't really being produced en masse? Yeah, there was very few items on the store shelves for all that money that was out there. So that created, the demand was there, and well, the products weren't, but the money was there. So that created even more inflation. So let's keep on keeping on. The recession of the mid-1980s tamed it. It says, for the next 25 to 30 years, inflation remained steady in the United States, hovering between the 1.5% to 3.5% range. I love this right here. This is like, yeah, you go, dude. He says here, for some reason, 2% inflation is considered desirable by economists and remains a target for the Federal Reserve currently. Yeah, imagine 50 years of 2% inflation. Yeah. There you go. There's your value of your money, right? So as we all know, inflation spiked again in 2021 and 2022, despite proclamations. I love that, proclamations. The king made anyway, by the Fed and others, that early signs of rising inflation in 2021 were transitory. And let's be honest, transitory prices for nearly everything jumped sharply. And look, when they said transitory, I think all of us in the coin community kind of laughed and said, yeah, right. You remember when the United States Mint raised their prices the Mint raised their prices before the inflation really took off. And we all had that feeling here like, hey, guess what? And I had mentioned it on a bunch of live shows that, hey, you know what? This transitory stuff, the Mint would not raise prices unless they saw something coming. Because let's face it, it's the United States Mint. They have all the numbers. They're part of the federal government, right? So they have all the information they need to make the adjustments. And here you go. It's really quite something. Now, it says the massive sums infused into the economy by the government due to COVID-19 created far too many dollars, chasing few too goods. I guess that's a better way to put it. Supply chain issues and rising income levels further fueled inflation. Absolutely. For 2021 and 2022, inflation was about 7% or higher, depending on what chart or source you believe. Isn't that the truth? Nobody knows what to believe anymore because, well, it seems like a lot of the data could be manipulated, right? And I think they may have, look at the jobs reports for the last 2 months for June and May. They actually were revised down. Yeah, how do they get the numbers wrong, right? It just makes you want to scratch your head, right? The results of rising inflation are in the news daily, okay? Consumers are shocked by the cost of groceries. You go to grocery shopping and you'll always hear somebody muttering under their breath about these prices. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you're not used to it yet, are you? No, I don't think we'll ever get used to that, right? And the restaurant meals and especially the cost of housing. Yeah, when you can go to McDonald's and Red Robin for the same price, things might be out of whack, right? And especially the cost of housing. That's right, housing. I think I've seen housing in California may have been $16,000 rent per month for some places in maybe Venice Beach. Yeah, who's got $16,000 to rent a home in Venice Beach? I'd move to like Mississippi or Louisiana and buy a home for $180,000 at that point and work from home. Now, here we go. To fight inflation, the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates at a historic pace. And folks, well, they do believe that they have acted, too slowly, and they have created a problem in the economy, and that could be why we're seeing the numbers tank now. But there's a lot of factors going on. The stunning jump in interest has profound consequences for consumers and businesses alike, including collectors and dealers. Now, I tell you what, interest rates and businesses, you know what they're doing right now? So let's say a business is selling something and they're only getting 1, 2, 3, 4% profit over everything after all the revenue and the expenditures and all that. Well, why would they do that if they could just keep that money in the bank right now and make 5, 6, 7% interest on the money there? So there's actually an incentive right now for businesses to not do any business and just keep their money in the bank. Don't believe me? Look it up. Now let's keep on keeping on. Many coin companies are dealing with much higher carrying costs for inventory. I know my company used to be able to borrow money for coin deals at rates that seemed like free money. Did you ever get a loan that was free money? Yeah, a lot of people had home loans at 2.2% or lower. Yeah, wow, that's almost like free money. Now we carefully consider any deal that requires loans to secure. This has a chilling effect for many companies with big operations. The cost of money has become a big factor. Several of the mega deals done in recent years with the industry were done with leveraged financing. The monthly interest payments for some of these deals are staggering and no doubt impact cash flows that could be used to grow business instead. That's right. So it's having an impact on the growth of business. Now, if you do see companies that are doing some growth, that's amazing, and that's pretty aggressive at this point in time. Now, it says rising inflation and corresponding higher interest rates also impact the amount of money flowing into the hobby. The average budget-minded collector with limited funds is having to choose between necessary expenses that have increased the cost and buying coins, right? So there you go. And necessary expenses, food, your car payment, the house payment, that sort of thing, that have increased in cost, and buying coins. Which do you do, right? So maybe you buy coins still, but maybe they're not as expensive, right? Quite a few of my mass market friends have reported slower sales in the last few quarters. So you see all these articles coming out about how the coin hobby is doing great. Well, maybe it is, but at the same time, things are slowing down. That's obvious. Price points are another major issue that has been a topic of concern in the hobby recently, with gold having jumped about $1,000 since 2017. The cost of any gold coin is rapidly slipping beyond the reach of most collectors. Double eagles now melt for about $23.50, and the premium, due to slowing demand, has completely evaporated for all but the highest grade examples. There you go. That's it. That's the writing on the wall we talk about. The collapse of premiums for most bullion-related items is one of the biggest stories in numismatics. Another tangible impact for numismatics due to inflation and rising prices has been the cost of hiring employees, and the U.S. Mint knows all about that. Operating any business in the United States, including coin companies large and small, has become much more expensive. We now pay employees double what we were paying them less than 10 years ago. Regrettably, I hate that word, unfortunately. It means you're unlucky. Regrettably, coin dealers have a harder time passing along increased operating costs to their customers. That's right, because you can only sell a little bit over spot. And that's for bullion, right? The coin market is competitive and profit margins are slim for most companies. And that's what I was talking about, those profit margins. So why not just keep the cash in the bank, right? Other than coins with high intrinsic values, the cost for most collector coins have remained stagnant or even slightly lower in the last 2 years. With the price of everything around us rising, classic coins have barely budged. You can still buy a gem-proof 3-cent nickel for about $500. I had to say it like that. Now, this can be explained by the issues mentioned above, the most important being the lack of discretionary spending by strapped consumers. This guy's awesome. I really got to give it to this guy right now. There is also less money trying to find a home, since fixed income investments are now paying a respectable return. That's what I'm talking about, right? This guy's genius. One of the topics that sparked my idea for the article was the recent price increases announced by the United States Mint. What? For current issues starting July 9, 2024, the Mint is not immune to rising costs of production and higher gold and silver prices. Unlike most of the coin dealers in the United States, they can pass along higher input costs to the collectors. Yeah, but it comes at a price, right? Look at all those canceled subscriptions and reduced subscriptions that we saw. And he gives a breakdown here of what it was and what it is right there in the prices. And let's keep on keeping. I think there's a little bit more here. Now, despite the increase for modern Mint products, most classic U.S. numismatic pieces have remained steady and are becoming a bargain. Absolutely. Check this out. You won't even believe your eyes. And I think a lot of people have already figured this out, and they're going to be like, well, why do that when I can just do this? And there's this. Watch this. Now, when the value of the dollar and inflation are taken into account, you can now buy a Mint State 64 Morgan silver dollar struck in the 1880s for less than the cost of a Morgan dollar struck by the United States Mint this year. $95, folks. That's what the Morgan and Piece of dollars are going for. $95. Vintage coins are a screaming bargain, in my opinion, when all of the above is factored in. Now, in coming months and years, as inflation and interest rates return to long-term norms, we don't even know what that means, the value of U.S. coins, many U.S. coins, should improve. Today's prices will seem like a great buying opportunity in retrospect someday, and I completely agree with that sentiment. I really do. Really, really, really do. As always, do your homework and educate yourself before buying any rare coins. No coins are a good long-term investment if you overpaid to start with. Yeah. And remember what a fair price is, where you and the seller are both happy at that price point. The A&A World's Fair of Money, I don't even know what I'm talking about here, will be held in a couple of weeks in Rosemont, Illinois. The dates are August 6th through the 10th. That's mañana. And dealers and collectors from around the world will be in attendance. And he's going to be at 214. Stop by and say hello. There it is. Now, let's go to the +1 real quick. This is it right here. Blammo, yeah. Can we maintain our identity while still being connected to the outside world? Well, let's just try and wrap our head around that, right? When the world seems lost, we must look forward to the future. Irrepressible spirits choose positive expectations and assign themselves to a single-minded way of life. This mindset gives us the power to rise each new day to face it with courage and conviction. Isn't that something? Now, remember what I showed you here? Blammo, yeah, that's the futures, and they are live. We're down 3% here on the S&P. Dow, almost 2%, about 4.5% for NASDAQ. Russell down 5% now. Crude down 2%, and look at gold, still down just under 0.5%. Now, that brings me to this. Yeah, this is Led Zeppelin, When the Levee Breaks. Now, there it is, folks. I really appreciate you listening this deep into the show. And listen, if you really like it and you want these videos to keep coming out every single day, please show your support and join and be a member. It's $1.99 a month. Stacker out.